It was supposed to be a surprise. I had made dinner reservations, booked the Airbnb by the coast, even arranged for Erica's parents to watch the kids for the weekend. I thought maybe, just maybe, I could bring her back to me. That maybe we could find our rhythm again, the way we used to be before everything changed. Instead, I got a call from Mercy Hospital. It was a Thursday afternoon. I was halfway through a staff meeting when my phone buzzed, and I glanced at the screen, ready to silence it. But the caller ID made my stomach twist. Mercy ER. I excused myself without a word and stepped into the hallway to answer. "This is Ryan," I said, my voice tight. "Mr. Miller, this is the emergency room at Mercy. Your son Mason has been in an accident. He was hit by a vehicle. We need you to come immediately." For a second, everything inside me went still. No sound, no breath, nothing. Just the white noise of panic flooding my ears. I asked a few questions. Was he alive? Was he conscious? What happened? They told me he had been walking home from school. Erica was supposed to pick him up, and he was struck at an intersection. They said it was serious. He was being prepped for surgery. I don't remember how I got to the hospital. I don't remember the red lights or the roads. Just my hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. I called Erica 3 times. Straight to voicemail. Then I texted. Nothing. I called her parents and asked them to get our daughters, Sophie and Chloe, from school and meet me at Mercy. When I arrived, they rushed me through intake. Mason was already in surgery. I handed over the insurance card and signed whatever papers they shoved in my face, but I wasn't really there. I just kept seeing my son's face in my mind, that goofy grin, the way he always kicked his soccer ball down the hallway, the way he called me Coach Dad. He was 15. Still a kid. I sat in the waiting room with Erica's parents, both of them quiet, tense. Her mom, Sharon, looked at me with concern and kept asking, "Where's Erica? Is she okay?" "I don't know," I said. "She's not answering." The room felt too cold, the fluorescent lights too bright. I kept checking my phone. Still nothing. That wasn't like her. No matter how hectic things got at work, she always picked up. Especially for the kids. That's when Sophie ran in, her backpack swinging from one shoulder, Chloe behind her in tears. "Dad," Sophie said, holding up her phone, "I think I know where Mom is." "What do you mean?" "She has that Find My app, remember? The one she made us install? It shows where her phone is." I took the phone from her. A blinking red dot pulsed on the screen. "Downtown. Westin Hotel." I stared at it for a long second. Tried to make sense of it. Thursday afternoon. A hotel? Chloe said quietly she didn't pick up Mason today. He waited. Then he walked. My heart cracked. I took a deep breath and stepped out into the hallway. I dialed her office. A woman named Linda answered. "Hi, this is Ryan Miller, Erica's husband. Is she around?" A pause. "She left for lunch around 1. With Colton, a sales rep from Alliance Freight." Colton. The name echoed. Erica had mentioned him once. "Tall guy with the sleeve tattoos," she'd said. "Do you have his number?" I asked. Linda hesitated. "It's on the business card on her desk." "Hold on." A moment later, she read me the number. I hung up and dialed. It rang. Then voicemail. I tried again. Third time, he answered. "Hello." His voice sounded groggy. Or guilty. "Is this Colton?" I asked. "Yeah." "Who's this?" "Ryan Miller. Erica's husband." Put her on the phone. A long pause. I heard sheets rustle. Then muffled voices. Finally, Erica's voice came on. "Ryan," she said, her voice thin. Nervous. "Listen carefully," I said. "Mason was hit by a car while walking home from school. He's in surgery. Critical condition. You're at the Westin." "I know. When you're done screwing around with your sales buddy, get to the ER. Room 6. Now." Click. I walked back into the waiting room. My daughters and Sharon stared at me, eyes wide. They'd heard. I didn't care. I sat down and buried my face in my hands. For the first time in 20 years, I cried in front of my kids. Not because I was weak. Because I was done. She showed up 40 minutes later. Hair still messy. Makeup half wiped. Her blouse buttoned wrong. Her heels clicking too loud against the tile floor of the emergency wing. The look on her face was somewhere between horror and disbelief, like she hadn't fully processed what was happening or how it would look to walk in like that, in front of her children and parents. I didn't say a word. Just looked at her. So did Sharon. And when she did, something inside her snapped. The slap echoed through the corridor before anyone could react. Erica's head whipped to the side. My mother-in-law, The same woman who once insisted I wasn't good enough for her daughter now stood trembling with rage. You let your son walk home so you could crawl into some hotel bed? Sharon's voice was sharp, shaking. I raised you better than this. Erica's mouth opened, but no words came out. Her father, George, stepped between them. That's enough, Sharon, he said quietly. Then, turning to Erica, but she's right. You were supposed to be his mother today. You weren't. Our oldest daughter, Sophie, stood frozen, eyes wide with betrayal. Chloe was crying. And I was done shielding them. Why didn't you answer your phone? I asked. Erica looked at me like a cornered animal. I didn't see it. I left it in my bag. Don't lie to me. Not here. Not today. She looked away, her chest rising and falling. Then finally, quietly, she said, I'm sorry. I stood up and pointed to the empty chair across the room. Sit down. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to them. Sit there and wait. She did. And that's when the surgeon finally came out. Mason had made it through surgery. A broken femur. Cracked ribs. A mild concussion. But the bleeding had stopped, and they were cautiously optimistic. He'd be sedated for a while, and recovery would take months, but he was alive. Everyone exhaled. Everyone except Erica. Because the moment the doctor left, Sharon turned to her and asked the question I'd been holding back. Where exactly were you when your son was crossing an 8-lane road by himself? Erica hesitated, then looked at me. Her voice was brittle. I made a mistake. No, I cut in. You didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. A choice to leave your phone on silent. A choice to spend the afternoon in a hotel room with a man you swore you barely knew. A choice that left our son walking home alone on one of the busiest streets in the city. Chloe, still clutching my hand, looked up at her mother. Were you really with that man, Mom? Erica covered her face and began to cry. Not the kind of cry that comes from loss, but the panicked sob of someone cornered by their own guilt. And in that moment, I realized something brutal but honest. I didn't care. I wasn't angry. I wasn't jealous. I was empty. For the next few hours, I didn't speak to her. I coordinated with the nurses, signed more forms, made sure the girls had dinner, arranged for Sharon and George to stay the night. Erica sat by herself on a bench near the vending machines. I didn't ask her to leave. I didn't tell her to stay. I just didn't see her as my wife anymore. When Mason finally woke up the next morning, Erica tried to get close. She stood at the edge of the bed, hand trembling, reaching toward him. Hey, baby, she whispered. I'm here. Mason blinked, then turned his head toward me and said, Dad, can Mom not cry right now? My head hurts. And that was it. That was the moment she realized what she'd done. Not just to me, but to him. He wasn't angry. He wasn't disappointed. He just didn't want her there. That night, as I drove home with the girls while Erica stayed at the hospital, Chloe asked me, Are you going to divorce Mom? I didn't answer right away. Instead, I said the only honest thing I could say. I don't know, sweetie. But things won't ever be the same. And I meant it. The day after Mason woke up, I didn't go into work. I sat in the kitchen, staring into a cup of cold coffee, while the girls got ready for school upstairs. Erica still hadn't come home from the hospital, and I didn't ask her to. Sharon had stayed overnight, making sure Erica didn't try to rewrite the narrative for the doctors or the nurses. Her presence was my insurance. But I also knew, no matter what Erica said or how many tears she shed, nothing was going to undo the silence in Mason's voice when he turned away from her. That silence was louder than any scream. By noon, Erica texted me. I'm coming home to shower. I'll be quick. I didn't reply. Just waited. When the front door opened, I didn't even look up. She walked in quietly, carrying the same purse she'd had at the hospital, looking like someone who hadn't slept in 2 days. Maybe she hadn't. She stopped just inside the living room. Can we talk? No, I said, still staring into my coffee. We'll talk after Mason walks again. Right now, we're roommates. At best. She nodded, and for a moment I thought she'd just walk away. But then she whispered, You called him, didn't you? I looked up slowly. Who? She hesitated. Her face twisted. Donnie. And there it was. That name. That disgusting, punchable name I tried to keep out of my head. I said nothing. She took a step closer. I know you called the hotel. I heard you mention his name. She trailed off. I need to know what you said. What I said. I repeated, almost laughing. I told him your son was bleeding in the ER while you were out being someone else's little secret. I told him to hand you the phone, or I'd tear the walls down to get to you. That about covers it. She winced, but I didn't care. Let it hurt. I stood up and walked to the sink. You're lucky it was me who called and not your father. Or your daughter. You're right, she said. You're right about everything. No, I said, turning to face her. I'm not. I didn't know the half of it. Because I didn't want to know. I saw the signs. The late nights. The new clothes. The giggles over texts. The way you looked past me. And I told myself it was nothing. That you were just growing. That I should be proud of you. She stepped closer. I wasn't planning anything, Joel. It just happened. Don't say that, I snapped. Don't you dare insult me with that weak excuse. You don't wake up in a hotel bed by accident. You don't rip a family apart by mistake. You made a choice. She covered her face, crying again, but I was done. I walked past her toward the stairs. I'll stay in the guest room, she called after me. No, I replied. You'll stay wherever you want. It doesn't matter anymore. That night, the girls came home and asked where Mom was sleeping. I told them we were figuring things out, but that they didn't need to worry about it. Sophie didn't press. Chloe did. Is this because of Mason? I shook my head. It's because your mom forgot what mattered. That's all. And somehow she understood. Kids always understand more than we think. 2 days later, I met with a lawyer. I didn't file anything yet, but I asked questions. I learned how it worked. Division of assets, custody, all the hard, cold stuff that turns a marriage into paperwork. Just knowing the process gave me a strange sense of calm. Like I had options. Like I wasn't trapped. That night, I left the pamphlets on the kitchen table, not because I wanted her to find them, but because I didn't care if she did. She did. And in the middle of the night, I found her sitting at the table in a hoodie, staring at the manila envelope like it was ticking. I get it, she whispered. If you want to divorce me, I'll sign anything. I don't deserve to fight. I didn't respond. Just stood in the doorway, watching the ghost of the woman I married try to convince herself she still belonged here. I lost you, didn't I? She asked. I wanted to say yes. God, I wanted to scream it. But instead, I just said, I'm not the one who walked away, Erica. You did. And I went back to bed. I thought the hardest part would be confronting Erica, telling her I knew, watching her squirm. But I was wrong. The hardest part was Mason. When they finally let him come home from the hospital, he was still in a wheelchair, his leg wrapped in so many braces it looked mechanical. His face was pale, eyes dark. He didn't talk much, didn't smile. He was 15, but he looked older now, like the accident had aged him in ways no one could see. And when he looked at Erica, there was nothing. No warmth. No forgiveness. No trust. It killed her. I could see it every time she walked into the room, and he avoided her gaze. And maybe a better man would have stepped in and helped rebuild that bridge. Maybe a better father would have encouraged his son to forgive his mother. But I wasn't that man. Not anymore. I was too broken, too tired. We moved Mason's bed into the living room for convenience, but it also became a boundary. Erica stayed upstairs. I stayed mostly by Mason's side. Chloe and Sophie split their time, but even they were colder to their mom than before. There were no more family dinners. No more laughter. Just schedules and routines and reminders to take pills on time. 3 days after he came home, Erica tried again. She came downstairs, hair pulled back, no makeup, dressed like the woman I used to know. She knelt by Mason's chair and said, "Can we talk?" He didn't answer. "I just want to say I'm sorry. For everything. For not being there. For letting you walk home alone. For making you feel like I wasn't your mom." He kept his eyes on the muted TV screen. She swallowed. "I've made so many mistakes, Mason. But you'll always be the most important boy in my life." He finally turned to look at her, and for a second, I thought maybe something had shifted. But then he said, flatly, "That's not what it felt like." Erica flinched, like the words had slapped her. And then he added, "You don't get to be sorry now." I almost stepped in, almost said something to soften the moment. But I didn't, because he was right. Later that night, I heard her crying in the bathroom. But I didn't go in. I sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through my phone, searching for answers I'd never find. What do you do with a marriage like this? With a house full of pain? Then came the envelope. It arrived the next morning. Plain white. No return address. But I recognized the handwriting. Inside was a letter from Patricia Kelly, Donnie's wife. I read it 3 times. She wrote that she found out everything. That Donnie had confessed the affair after Lisa. Yes, Erica's friend Lisa caught wind of it. Patricia said she thought I deserved to know the full extent of it. How long it had been going on. The lunches. The hotel room on more than one occasion. The gym sessions that weren't gym sessions. She ended it with, "You seem like a good man, Joel. I hope you make the decision that brings you peace. I'm filing for divorce. You should too." I sat there holding the letter like it was a second wound. Later, Erica came into the kitchen. She saw the envelope in my hand and froze. "You heard from her?" she asked quietly. I didn't answer. She reached out to me, too," Erica admitted. "Said I should come clean before someone else did it for me." I nodded slowly. "So, it wasn't just once." She shook her head, eyes already watering. "No, it wasn't. The rage didn't hit like I expected. It didn't roar. It just settled, cold and quiet." I stood up, pushed the chair in, and said, "You need to leave the house." Her eyes widened. "What? You can stay at your sister's. Or get a hotel. I don't care. But I don't want you sleeping under this roof tonight." "Joel, please. The kids. They already know. Maybe not the details, but enough. This isn't about them. This is about me needing space from the woman who left our son bleeding on the pavement so she could be naked in a hotel bed." She started crying again, hands over her mouth. "It was a mistake." "No," I said, stepping closer. "It was a decision. Repeated, planned, protected, and now you're going to live with it." She left that night, and for the first time since the hospital, the house was quiet. Not peaceful, not yet, but quiet. The silence in the house didn't last long. It was quickly replaced by questions. From Chloe, who tiptoed around me for answers. From Sophie, who was angry but didn't fully understand why. And from Mason, whose silence was heavier than all the others combined. Erica was gone. She stayed at her sister's place across town, texting occasionally to check on Mason, but I didn't reply. Not out of cruelty. Out of preservation. I didn't know her comfort. Not anymore. A week passed. Then two. During that time, I started to rebuild some part of myself. I took time off work, focused on Mason's recovery. I cooked again, helped with homework, learned to braid Sophie's hair in the mornings. It was strange how the pieces came back together when the weight of lies was gone. Then Carter called. "You still want dirt?" he asked, his voice low and sharp. "Because I found some." I didn't hesitate. "Tell me." He didn't hold back. "There's an expense trail. Donnie used a corporate card for some of the hotel bookings. It's not just unethical, it's fireable. I also found texts between him and another supplier that suggest he's been doing shady deals on the side. Commissions under the table. Inflated invoices. Kickbacks. So he's not just a homewrecker," I muttered. "He's a thief." "Exactly. And get this, he's still married." "His wife? Patricia? She's already filed for divorce. And she's pissed." "Good. I'll email you everything. You know what to do." I hung up, staring at the quiet phone in my hand. I should have felt victorious. But it wasn't satisfaction I felt. It was something deeper. The slow, deliberate tightening of a noose. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about justice. That night, I printed everything Carter had sent me. The hotel receipts, the messages, the business records. I packaged them neatly into a manila folder and mailed it, anonymously, to Donnie's employer and to the supplier company's legal department. Then I called Patricia. She answered on the first ring. "I was hoping you'd call," she said. "I sent you something," I told her. "It's everything I could gather. What he did, what he spent, who he screwed over. Not just me." She was quiet for a second. Then she said, "You're not the only man he's done this to." I wasn't surprised. "Let's burn him down properly," she added. So we did. Over the next 2 weeks, Donnie's world collapsed. He was fired. His name blacklisted from half the industry. His accounts frozen pending audit. I didn't need to lift a finger. Patricia handled most of it. She was sharper than I gave her credit for. Cold. Strategic. The kind of person who didn't get mad. She got even. Erica found out eventually. She showed up one afternoon, uninvited, nervous, holding a grocery bag like peace offering. I met her on the porch before she could even knock. "I brought Mason his favorite snacks," she said quietly. "He's asleep," I said. She nodded, standing there awkwardly, then added, "I heard about Donnie. He called me, screaming." I looked her dead in the eye. "You still taking his calls?" Her face crumbled. "No. I blocked him after. I swear." I stepped back, arms crossed. "Why are you here, Erica?" She swallowed. I want to talk." "Talk?" "I want to try. To fix this. To fix us." I almost laughed. She saw it and flinched. "I know. I don't deserve that. But I'm doing everything I can. Therapy. Distance. I've been honest with the girls. And I told Mason the truth, everything. That caught me off guard. You told him? I asked. She nodded. He deserved to hear it from me. I wasn't sure if that was bravery or desperation. Maybe both. I don't know what you expect me to say, I admitted. Nothing, she said quickly. Not yet. Just give me time. Let me prove something to you. I didn't answer. I just closed the door behind me. Later that night, Mason asked if he could talk. I know what Mom did, he said, his voice even. I figured. He paused. She told me herself. Sat with me for an hour. Didn't cry. Didn't make excuses. I waited. I still don't forgive her, he said. But I think she's trying. I don't know what you plan to do, but I guess I don't want her to disappear forever. I nodded, unsure what to say, because part of me agreed. But the other part, the part still haunted by that Thursday when my son lay in the ER while my wife rolled around in hotel sheets, wasn't ready. Maybe never would be. Still, his words lingered. The next day, I called Carter again. You done? He asked. Not sure. He chuckled. You got what you wanted. He's ruined. She's crawling. What's left? Me, I said. I'm what's left. And I'm still deciding who I want to be on the other side of this. He didn't argue. That night, I sat at the edge of Mason's bed, watching him sleep. The boy had been broken and mended in ways no cast could fix. Just like me. And for the first time, I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I was just tired. Weeks turned into months. Summer bled into fall, and the leaves began to fall just like the walls I had built around myself. But if I had learned anything, it was this: forgiveness, if it comes at all, is never free. It costs something. And I was still figuring out the price. Erica stayed in her sister's guest room for most of that time. We spoke occasionally. About the kids, about logistics. But never about us. I kept her at a polite distance. Enough to be civil. Never enough to forget. Meanwhile, Donnie's implosion became public. A leaked HR memo confirmed his firing. A former client sued him for fraudulent billing. The whispers around town turned into headlines. And although my name was never mentioned, everyone in our professional circle knew who had drawn the first cut. I didn't deny it. I didn't need to. One morning, I found a handwritten envelope on my doorstep. Inside was a letter. From Patricia. Joel? I thought you should know. Donnie moved out of state. His license was suspended. He's living in a motel now. No job. No contact with the kids. And no legal leg to stand on. You didn't just hit him where it hurt. You finished him. Just thought that might bring you peace. Thank you. Peace. It was a strange word. I wasn't sure I felt it. But I appreciated the thought. That evening, Erica showed up again. This time not unannounced. She had called first, her voice unsure but steady. I just want a conversation, she'd said. One real conversation. I agreed. She brought wine. I didn't drink any. She did. We sat across from each other at the kitchen table like strangers who used to share a life. I want to tell you something, she said. Okay. I've been going to therapy 3 times a week. Individual, not couples. I wanted to fix myself before asking for anything from you. I didn't interrupt. She continued. My therapist asked me to write a list of everything I lost because of what I did. I filled 3 pages. But the worst part was realizing how much of it I'd taken for granted. Your loyalty. Your steadiness. The home we built. The way you always chose us, even when I didn't choose you back. She paused, then added, I don't think I deserve forgiveness. But I want it. Not because I want to erase what I did, but because I want to earn back the chance to love you the right way. That was the first time I saw her cry without trying to manipulate the moment. No theatrics. No pleading. Just quiet tears from someone who'd finally learned how badly they'd broken something sacred. I believe you, I said after a long silence. I believe you're sorry. And I believe you've changed. Her eyes flickered with something, hope, maybe. But that doesn't mean I'm ready to love you again. The hope dimmed slightly, but she nodded. I understand. I looked at her closely. This wasn't the woman who'd dressed for hotel rooms and lied to my face. She looked older. Smaller. Real. I'm not saying never, I added. But if there's a path back, it starts with friendship. Nothing more. A slow, tearful smile crossed her face. Then that's where we'll start. And we did. We started doing things as a family again. Sunday breakfasts. Movie nights. Driving Mason to his therapy sessions together. The kids noticed. Chloe even asked one night if Mom and Dad were back together. I told her the truth. No. But we're learning how to be on the same side again. In some ways, it was harder than I expected. Forgiveness doesn't arrive like a lightning bolt. It comes in fragments. In the way I stopped checking her phone, in how she didn't flinch when I mentioned Carter's name, and how Mason slowly started smiling again when we were all in the same room. Eventually, I agreed to counseling. Together this time. The first few sessions were awkward. I didn't want to share. She wanted to overshare. But then we found a rhythm. And the truth came out. We'd been broken long before Donnie. The affair had just cracked the surface. I never stopped loving you, she told me during one session. I just stopped recognizing you. And myself. I didn't say anything. But I understood. Near Christmas, we went to the tree lighting ceremony downtown. Erica stood beside me, our kids huddled close in their winter coats. Her hand brushed mine. I didn't pull away. I didn't hold on, either. That was enough for her. Later that night, Mason handed me a drawing, stick figures of our family, all standing together again. In the corner, he'd written, "Still here. Still fighting." I tucked it into my drawer next to the divorce papers I hadn't signed. Not because I was staying, but because I was still deciding what forgiveness really looked like, and whether I had the strength to give it. Spring rolled around slowly, and with it came clarity. The kind of clarity that doesn't arrive in the middle of a fight or a therapy session, but in quiet moments. Like watching Mason finally run again during physical therapy, or hearing Chloe hum to herself while making pancakes, or standing on the porch one morning, coffee in hand, watching Erica pull weeds from the garden she once forgot existed. We were rebuilding, but not as husband and wife. Not yet. For all her efforts, the therapy, the accountability, the slow repair of trust with the kids, something inside me still resisted. I didn't wake up resenting her. I didn't lie awake at night reliving what she'd done. But I hadn't fully healed. I could feel it in how I measured my words around her. How I still locked my phone out of instinct. How sometimes her laughter made me wonder if it was the same laugh Donnie had heard. You don't forget betrayal. You just learn to live beyond its shadow. One evening, Erica and I sat outside after dinner. The kids had gone to bed, and the air smelled like grass and early summer. She poured a glass of wine. I drank water. "Do you think we'll make it?" she asked, not looking at me. I took my time before answering. "I think we already made it through the worst." "That's not a yes." "No," I said. "But it's not a no either." She smiled, but it was the kind of smile people wear when they're bracing for pain. I hated that I put it there. But I couldn't lie. That weekend, I packed a bag and went away for 2 days. No big reason. I told Erica I needed air. Space. She understood. She didn't question me, didn't guilt me. Just said, "Take what you need." I drove north to a lake cabin Carter had recommended. Quiet place. No reception. Just woods, water, and a lot of silence. I brought the polygraph results. The therapy notes. Even Mason's drawing. I sat with it all. Read everything again. And then I burned it. Not out of anger, but because I didn't want artifacts of that pain to follow me forever. I wasn't deciding whether Erica deserved forgiveness anymore. I was deciding if I wanted to carry this weight for another 20 years. When I got home, she was sitting at the kitchen table, flipping through a photo album. She looked up, uncertain. "I thought you might not come back," she said softly. "I wasn't sure either," I replied. She nodded, bracing again. I put my bag down, walked to the table, sat across from her. "I need to say something," I began. "And I need you to listen, all the way through." She held my gaze and nodded. "You've done everything right, Erica. You took responsibility. You never blamed me, or the kids, or life. You worked. You changed. You showed up. I saw that. I see that." Her eyes shimmered. "But I can't love you the way I used to. That part of me, it died the moment you chose someone else. And I can't force it back. I won't fake it. Not for the kids. Not for a shared mortgage. And not because we once had something beautiful. I loved you more than anything. But I can't live the rest of my life remembering what it cost me." She looked away, tears beginning to fall. But she didn't argue. "I don't hate you," I continued. "I just finally love myself more than I need to fix this." A long silence passed between us. Then she asked, "So what happens now?" "We let go. With grace. We co-parent. We support the kids. We stay kind. But we end this as a marriage. Officially." Her shoulders sagged, and for the first time in a long time, I saw not guilt, but acceptance. "I always thought I'd lose you in a moment," she whispered. "But I guess I lost you a little more each day after I betrayed you." I nodded. "That's how it works." The divorce was quiet. No fighting. No battles over assets. The kids handled it with more grace than most adults I knew. Mason even hugged me after I told him. "You're still my hero, Dad," he said. "Always will be." Carter helped me get a new place, a modest townhouse closer to the city. Clean walls. No memories. Just possibility. I furnished it slowly. Chose things I actually liked, not just what matched. Hung Mason's drawing in my office. The one that read, "Still here. Still fighting." A few months later, I ran into Erica at the grocery store. We smiled. We chatted. She looked healthier. Lighter. As we parted, she said, "Thank you for letting me become a better person, even if I couldn't stay your person." I didn't respond with words. Just a nod. She understood. Some nights, I still think about the life we had. About the girl I met in college. About the way her eyes used to light up when we danced in the kitchen. But then I remind myself, some chapters aren't meant to be reopened. They're meant to be honored, then closed. I'm not bitter. I'm not broken. I'm just free. And that's more than I ever thought I'd be again.